It wasn't like she took out like a Black Lives Matter flag and flew it around, or she got out and started goose stepping and doing Zig Heils, which would be an extremely offensive political message that somebody could do at these things. She, instead of doing this, she did this. If that is too much for you, then I'm sorry. You're just, it just feels like you're kind of soft. Oh God, I don't know if I want to respond to Katlin Bennet today. I already watched a lot of nonsense today. I kind of just want to phone it in a little bit. You know, I just kind of want to phone it in. I kind of want to phone it in. I don't know if I really want to watch. Oh boy, let's have a blast. Okay, so Katlin Bennet has a lot of opinions. A lot of opinions on a lot of things. She has opinions that she talks to people on the beach. She has opinions on bathrooms. She has opinions on many things. She has a lot of opinions on the Jews as well, according to leaked DMs. She has a lot of opinions on like how a monarchy should be brought back to the United States, and a lot of fascistic tendencies generally. So, in line with the general like censorship and like authoritarian tendencies, she's released another video. Have I ever eaten a deer? Yeah, deer jerky is something we used to eat a lot in the family because we have an uncle that hunts a ton. But in continuing with that trend and tradition of just generally like being authoritarian, she has released a video about we need to care about Gwen Berry. And if you guys do not know who Gwen Berry is, Gwen Berry is this woman who protested at the Olympics by turning around during the national anthem. That is what she did. She later said that she did not hate the United States and wanted to bring attention to, you know, oppression. And we need to care about this. Now, there's been a lot of people questioning her patriotism, questioning how she needs penalties for this. And so will Katlin Bennet. Katlin Bennet is going to explain to me why not only should we care about Gwen Berry, but what should happen, how there needs to be penalties. I'm super excited for Liberty Hangout to tell me why we need to be angry about this person using their liberty. No hangout.
In hammer throwing, I didn't even know that was a thing until the third place grifter Gwen Berry.
The third place grifter. The third place grifter. Now, number one, let me say, Katlin Bennet, you'd be lucky to get third place in anything, okay? And most certainly third place in one of the most competitive arenas in the world, the Olympics. You can degrade third place, Katlin, when you place above it in the Olympics. Number two, grifter. There is no evidence whatsoever that Gwen Berry does not believe in the protest she did. Grifting isn't just a word you just throw around at anybody you want. If you want to say, well, this person I think is virtue signaling for attention, which is kind of grifting. Yeah, if you wanted to do that, but you have no evidence that she doesn't believe this. You have no evidence that she isn't truly angry at oppression in the United States. You have nothing to back that up. So grifter isn't just a word you throw at people you don't like. It actually has a definition. So I would like to see that provided. Like immediately, like 28 seconds in the video, already the ad hominems.
Wanted to make her little stunt as an activist rather than an athlete. So
you can be both. You can be an activist and an athlete. 100%, you know, if Gwen Berry during that, like, put on a MAGA hat or something, she would be going like, yes, queen. You'd 100% know that. It's just the activism is in a direction, which is, you know, pro-black. So you don't like that.
I mean, she really just gave the spotlight to Deanna Price. And when I saw this issue happening and I saw conservatives being mad about Gwen Berry and I saw Dan Crenshaw and other Congress people saying that Gwen Berry needs to be removed from the Olympics, at first I thought, is this a distraction? Is this something that we should really care about?
Okay, the idea of removing her from the Olympics due to her not standing in the correct position during a song that is magical to you is something that's so unbelievably un-American and so unbelievably just tone deaf. It's hard for me to connect with it. So you want to, with the Olympics, show the world how amazing America is, right? A lot of the Olympics is just ego stroking. Like, we have the best athletes, right? And with that, you want to represent America, right? Like people with the Olympics is like a really important thing for their country. Like, I remember when Korea, like South and North Korea, flew under a united Korean flag for the first time at the Olympics, and it was like a big moment because they were representing their country united. The United States is one of the few countries that enshrines its rights that its people has with a Bill of Rights. And, freedom of speech is a huge pillar of this nation. There's not a lot of countries that really enshrine it in the same way we do. And it's something I'm actually proud of as an American. Freedom of speech and having that is something I'm immensely proud of as an American. And the thing is, the idea that on a stage where they're supposed to be representing the United States, one of them doesn't stand in the correct position for you, and that's too offensive of a political statement, so they must get penalized and removed from the committee. And it isn't just because they made a political statement, but they made one so tame. So tame. It wasn't like she took out like a Black Lives Matter flag and flew it around, or she got out and started goose-stepping and doing Zig Heils, which would be an extremely offensive political message that somebody could do at these things. She, instead of doing this, she did this. If that is too much for you, then I'm sorry. You're just... It just feels like you're kind of soft, if that's too much for you. And the idea of penalizing her to that degree and taking away from her athletic accomplishments as well, and removing her because she made this statement, seems completely un-American. Look, I can understand if maybe she took out like a hammer and sickle flag and like marched around saying like the Holodomor was a lie, or if she like started doing Zig Heils or like something like that. But it was something so tame and so minor to push a pretty like mild-mannered, decent message about how we need to continue to strive for a better America, how she doesn't hate the United States, wants to see America prosper with oppression gone, that removing her almost seems un-American in nature. That on the greatest stage in the world where we're supposed to be representing the United States, where now the free speech crowd is saying that what should represent the United States is people getting removed for very mundane political statements that they made while doing this. I get the shut up and dribble crowd doesn't understand this, but athletes also have emotions, feelings, and beliefs, just like working class people who mine in the coal mines or clean dishes or wait tables do, and they're allowed to express them. And I think that this was a very mild-mannered way of doing it that didn't bother or hurt anyone. So I really don't understand the large amount of outrage over this.
And then I thought about it a little bit more, and I'm like, yeah, this is something that we should care about. Because
is it really? Even like, let's say I was a right winger, right? Let's say I was big on the right wing. Is this really something that I'd really like beat the drums over? Even from like a right wing strategist culture war perspective, I feel like there's so much more you could be concentrating on. I'm sure you can find like some random middle school teacher who burnt like an American flag in her backyard or something. That would be much more inflammatory than somebody turning in a different direction and then afterwards saying, I don't hate America.
Because this is part of the culture war. This is part of the stuff that we need to fight back against.
Remember, Democrats for a very long time have always said, it's the economy, stupid. Don't get distracted by the culture war. They understand that they win when it's the culture war. They lose when it's economics, policy, or infrastructure, or scientific development, anything else, dealing with natural disasters, war, anything else. You gotta stay in the one arena they can win in, and that is the culture war. Outrage marketing.
The reason why I think this matters more than like just say the NFL or whatever, when you're playing football, you're not playing on a team that's literally represented by the nation in which the people reside. So in the Olympics, they literally are separated. The teams are countries. That's what it is. It's nations. It's where you're from. You're representing your entire country. The NFL, you're just representing the city in which...
And what is a better representation of the United States than somebody deciding to show the world that the United States is a nation where you have freedom of expression, and doing that in a very mild manner way that doesn't really bother anyone? I think, if anything, that is a great representation of the United States, while also taking into account and bringing attention to the continued systematic oppression in America. I mean, again, this feels like this should be a W for the free speech crowd, which Liberty Hangout has always supposedly been in the corner of.
The team is from, or just the team itself, really doesn't have much to do with the country. So that's why it's different to me, and I do think it matters. So the fact that if you want to be in the Olympics, you know it's just not a normal sports team. It's not just, you know, your high school football team or your high school hammer thrower. I don't even know how you get into something like that. She knew the third place grifter. She knew.
Third place grifter. Again, I'd like to see Katlin Bennet place fourth. If she can place fourth, I'd be amazed. In any Olympic sport, number one. And number two, she isn't a grifter unless you have evidence that she is doing this for money and attention, and you aren't just assuming it. Like you've got some DM like, I'm going to do this so I get attention and maybe like a Nike sponsorship. Unless you've got some secret DMs that no one else has, please provide them. Grifter isn't just a random insult. It's a word that has meaning.
Darn well that going in, she would be representing her country. She would be winning for her country. And for her to act like a spoiled little brat and turn her back and make a whole deal and try to be an activist because she won third place. She did not win. She lost. I don't know.
Third place is still a massive achievement on an Olympic level sport. Why are you degrading that? Why are you continuing to degrade? Third place at Olympic level sport. I'd like to see Katlin Bennet attempt hammer throwing. Attempt the sport and see if she can place anywhere close to third. I would like to see Katlin Bennet attempt hammer throwing and coming in anything but literally last place.
I don't know if this was her way of getting attention because she did.
You don't know, so stop calling her a grifter. And also, she called it like a tantrum. I don't know if you've ever seen a tantrum, but a tantrum is usually like stomping and waving your hands around. All she did was go from this position to this position. That is no tantrum I have ever heard of.
Didn't win first because she could have been respectful to the girls who placed first and second, but she didn't even respect them. She's not a good sport. She's not a good she's just not a good athlete. A good athlete shows sportsmanship on the field, and she did not do that because she didn't even respect them enough to allow them to be in the spotlight because she took it for herself. So why I think this matters is because this is a sport on a...
By the way, that's not even true. These other athletes, none of us would have known their name or ever heard their name, most likely, if it wasn't for her doing that. So actually, conservatives started giving these two other athletes huge amounts of praise for just like standing in this direction instead of this direction, right? So actually, if anything, what she did brought more light and more attention to the other athletes as well. Do you really think that, you know those two athletes that rose the fist at the Olympics, like back in the 60s? You know that white guy that was also there, and it was one of the winners who didn't do that? Most likely got a ton of attention and a ton of praise due to that. And not really a lot of heat. Oh, they were Australian? Well, not the same thing, but still, same point. Like, more people know that person's name. Because of it. And he helped them? Well, still, point still stands. He didn't raise his fist. He still got more attention because of it. Same thing goes for these two women, so I don't know how that would be a point.
Global scale. This isn't just something that happens in the United States. They are going out to other places representing us. This matters. We don't want losers and ungrateful little brats to be representing the United States.
Okay, if we don't want losers representing the United States, Katlin Bennet is a well-known American YouTuber who shit her pants and fell down at a college party. Now, I don't know what is defined as a loser or not a loser, but that, if you would have asked me if that falls into the loser category, that would fall into that category. And again, all she did was turn in a separate direction.
Should be consequences for people who go out and embarrass our country. If you don't like the United States, don't go to the Olympics on behalf of us. Go.
She didn't say. What was her name? Gwen Berry. Don't like America. I never said that I hated this country. She didn't hate America. She never said she didn't like America. She just did a very mundane movement from here to here. You're just lying about her. She never said she hated America.
Join another country? Go become a citizen in another country and join their Olympic team.
She quite literally afterwards corrected the record to say that she doesn't hate America.
You hate the US so much. So I do think it matters. I do think it's important to push back on it. I uploaded a picture honoring the first place gold medalist, Deanna Price. She actually broke a world record, and so that's pretty cool. And I made a post on Facebook, and it resonated really well with you guys. It got almost 100,000 reactions, which is amazing. I said, don't give the attention and time to this third place grifter, Gwen Berry. Make sure we honor Deanna Price, who did an amazing job.
Words have meaning. Grifter is a defined word. Grifter. Don't use words you don't know. Grifter, a person who engaged in small or petty scale swindling. How did she do that? You don't know that she did that. You have no evidence she did that.
And she held that flag up high. I think it's important for people to do that if they're going to represent the country in general. It's something important to fight back against. So, yep, that's what the culture war entails. It entails getting into these little stupid beefs because whatever. But now Gwen Berry, the grifter, has now sponsorships from, you know, Puma and Colin Kaepernick, and now she's gonna be famous probably, and she's gonna be the face of all these things. So it's kind of like fighting the culture war has.
And so your response is, let's give that to the other people. So what? Who cares? Why?
Its downfalls as well, because now we've given her.
So what? So good for her. Like, why should I hate that?
Her so much attention because we've demanded consequences. Now she's probably going to be rich in a few years. She's probably, you know, 5 years down the line, everyone's going to know her name. She's going to be
and you're helping to do that, by the way, by doing this outrage thing. You're helping to do that. So if you're angry about that, why are you giving her more? Look, man, how do we make her not famous? I don't know. Why we should care about Gwen Berry? That's a video that won't make her famous. You put her, why we should care about Gwen Berry. Yes, you're giving it to her then. If you're angry about it, why are you giving it to her?
A person that's talked about a lot, and she's probably going to be a millionaire by the time that, you know, I don't know. That's probably what's going to happen. Deanna Price probably won't be the person that we talk about. Because I do think in this country, we prefer to be outraged rather than uplifted. And I do believe that.
Grifter, grifter, grifter. Straight and hetero. Antifa sucks. My favorite country is Florida. 2 genders, 1 dad. And they're having a fun time over there at Grift Hangout TV. Anyway. Jesus. Please tread on me, Daddy. Florida's my favorite country. What a post. What a post.